The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network.
Happy New Year, friends of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, and welcome to Q's on the Move. This is a weekly podcast about Omega men that are doing some incredible work in your community with mentoring our young people, especially our young males, and helping men to become effective dads that are involved in their children's life 24/7. We are so glad, so excited that you have joined us today as we launch the third season of Q's on the Move. My name is Brother Donald Williams. I'll be your host. I'm the chairman of the 2nd District Fatherhood and Mentoring. My good friend, Jeff Diggs, is?
I'm the deputy chair of the 2nd District Fatherhood and Mentoring here for the state of Maryland.
So, Jeff, I'm excited about 220. We're going to introduce our guests later, but I'm excited about 2020.
It's going to be a great year. It's our opportunity to really shine, really get focused on what we're doing in the community. We invite you to connect with the chapter in your community and get involved with all of their activities that they'll be doing throughout the year and this decade.
So we have 350 days to make a tremendous difference in helping families and helping them allow their children to grow. Friends, here's our why. Friends, Omega wants to share positive messaging with you weekly and telling our story about the incredible work we're doing in your community with mentoring. Second why is the urgency is now. Mentoring matters, and it makes a tremendous difference in the lives of our young people, and we want to increase the number of chapters across this district that are mentoring our folks, our young people. And Jeff?
And friends, we also invite you, like I said before, to connect with the chapter in your community and to support that chapter and their many endeavors that they're doing. In addition, you can also call in to the show at 301-429-9247 or simply Google 2nd District Fatherhood and you'll see many videos that we have on our YouTube channel that will demonstrate what's going on in the community throughout the 2nd District.
And today we are elated, excited to have a distinguished Omega man in the house, as they say in church, as our guest to talk about the important work we are doing. Are so glad that he took time out. Our district representative, the 36th District representative of the 2nd District, huge thank you. I know you're being pulled in many directions. As we launch 2020, I just want to personally thank you for your uplift and your support on this journey. This is an important work. This is a heavy lifting for Omega men across the 2nd District. And you've always been there for me to provide that word of encouragement. So, Brother DR, we want to just get right into the conversation. Perhaps you can start off by sharing a personal story about who.
Well, I'm not as old as you two guys. You guys are talking about it. But I can remember. I've been fortunate to have great mentors, and I have two come to mind right now. A little bit of history. I'm from a single parent home. I grew up in Harlem, so first one of my immediate family would go to see while I went to college. So I was fortunate enough to have a mentor that showed me different avenues on how to be successful in the field I was supposed to go into. As you brothers know, I have an in vitro fertilization clinic, and that's basically helping women to achieve like family-to-family building. And one of my early mentors in life was a man by the name of Dr. John Cohen. And he was world-renowned embryologist in the world of IVF. And he mentored me early in life. He showed me two things, really. He showed me how I can't win unless, he can't win unless I win. By that he means, in order for him to be successful, I have to be successful. The team has to be successful. So if he was given something from the hospital or wherever as a bonus or special payments, whatever, he would in turn divide that money up with the staff. So it taught early on how people had to win together in order for us to both go farther.
That's good.
So in my leadership as DR, I always say, I'm not as great as I could be unless the brothers are behind me. So the phenomenal work that you guys do here, the fatherhood and mentoring, and just in mentoring in general, we do in Omega Psi Phi. So those early teaching lessons he taught me about, just being able to put more support, more enthusiasm, more belief in your team, not just in you, in your team, helps you be a better person, and then it's better for the program. Now in Omega, you guys know my mentor. My mentor is Ron Jones.
Ron Jones,
E66 as my mentor, and I miss him dearly. But Ron was the first brother that allowed me to, believe it or not, be Biggie and still be on a political stage. What I mean by that is he always told me I could take my brash, my aggressiveness, and put it into the office and what I was trying to do. So he said it's okay to be who I am, and he never put the constraints on me. He always told me when I would mess up, what I had to do to fix it. Mm-hmm. Even if I didn't believe him, and I still listened to him because I knew ultimately he's on the outside looking where I am, and to see what the steps and the pathways that I could be better. Now he's watching me fall, absolutely, because there's been times when I didn't listen to my mentor, so I did fall. Right. But he was the first one there to say, okay, just like my big brother Scrap, they're like, okay, so you fell, did you like it? Was it good? Now you can listen to us now. So these guys allowed me to fail, to be honest with you, because sometimes when you're mentoring someone, you gotta let them go and make their own decisions, because to me that's a bigger part of mentorship. You can try to steer some person the best way possible, but ultimately sometimes they're not going to listen. And when they fall, you have to be there to be like, all right, did you like it? Was it good? Did it hurt? All right, you want to listen to me now? All right. So, and that's what I try to do when I'm in the district. I try to lead I'm going to say with a heavy hand, but with an understanding hand. Knowing that the guys, that it will be, okay, we're going to try it this way. We're going to do it my way. If you don't want to do it my way, if you do it your way, okay, that's cool, because there's not just one way of doing things. But if it falls, now we're going to do it my way.
I tell you, great message. Having worked with young boys, sometimes we miss that. You learn through adversity. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to have some setbacks. You're going to have some disappointments. Mm-hmm. And you can learn some valuable lessons in that.
I think where some of the people who want to be mentors miss that message.
Yes.
Because sometimes people believe that a mentor is just someone that, tells someone to do something and that's it. And a young person is supposed to do it and that's it. Yeah. Not realizing that this young person was probably like them, years ago, and sometimes you need to fall. You need to fall sometimes, and you need to be able to say, be able to get up from it. Johnny McCook said, "We fall down, but we get up."
We get up.
So we got to be able to get back up and learn from our lessons and learn from our failures to be better.
Sure, and that teaches perseverance.
Mm-hmm. My favorite card. My mother.
Third cardinal principle.
I cannot lie, but my favorite card was perseverance. My mother taught me perseverance at an early age. At an early age, we taught perseverance.
Sure, we make mistakes, but you get up and you do it again. And, there's no failures in that as long as you get back up and continue on down that path. learn what not to do.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think that's where with our youth, when we try to, and again, I commend you guys for doing this, and I commend teachers as well for taking the time out to deal with students, because sometimes it can be a hard way to go with kids. It can be a hard way to go when you're trying to mentor someone, even when you're trying to bring someone along in a Omega. Some of you trying to bring the young guys along, and they want to do things their way. They have their own set ways. Like, look, man, you start threatening them with bodily harm if you don't do things your way or not. But the great thing about it is that, as you guys know, with me leading the undergrads, I'm fortunate to have my undergraduates believe in me. I'm fortunate to have them believe in me, because I always tell them, like, listen, there is nothing you haven't done that you have done that I haven't done, and I'm the DR now. So you can't sit back and say, okay, you're wrong. You finger pointing, browbeat, knowing good and doggone well we did the same thing.
And that kind of is interesting. You look back to when we were growing up to this generation that we are mentoring. It's like, what's the real difference? What's the difference back when we were growing up, and the difference with today's young people who kind of guide and direct and make sure they on the straight path. Your thoughts?
The difference when we were younger, one, there was no cell phones. So that's
yes,
one thing. That's one thing.
We all
would be in trouble with that. But the other thing was, we always had that person, that voice in the room. Dare I say it, that adult in the room that always said, no matter how much we messed up, how bad it got, it was like, all right, that's enough. I can remember in my early days in Omega, I had George McKinney, who actually read me in. McKinney read me in, and McKinney saw us doing some things, unfavorable, indulging in something. He would say, "Okay, boys, that's enough." Whether we were like fighting with Sigmas or something, He said, "Boys, that's enough," and we would stop on his point. But so when the young guys tell me, "Oh, we had a fight with the Sigma," we did too. It's just and that's what I try to tell, like, the grad advisors, like, listen, we did these things when we were younger. We did. We did these things. We didn't pull out knives and guns, but
no.
but we had plenty of scraps with other orgs. Plenty.
Brother DR, you mentioned you were product of a single family. I was blessed to have a mother and a father. Came up during the time where my father was a 2-time, 3-time Vietnam tour in Vietnam, military, and so I remember distinctly when he went to Vietnam. We would stay in Augusta, Georgia, and the men of the community. Is that right?
Mom's from Augusta,
Georgia, Aiken, 624 Aiken Street.
Waynesboro,
Back in the day,
Waynesboro, yeah.
How about that small world? But it was the men in the community would step up in the absence of my father. So I got the best of both worlds. 2 parents in the home, yes, but a lot of the majority of my youth, when I was 9, 10, 11, 13, father was in Vietnam. Today we got about 85% of the households in America that's headed, no fathers in the home. Yeah. And so we just love to hear those kind of stories to encourage our mentors. Your thoughts?
Yeah, a single parent home, it's the benefit of having, and I did have my father in my life, so that wasn't, my parents divorced early, in my early life, but I still had my father there, and I had a lot of uncles who definitely taught me, how can I say this this is a rated G programming here. My uncles taught me how to do a lot of things. They taught me how to do a lot of things. And some of the things they taught me was, I would say, like, in the absence of my dad, because I watched the bond that my dad had with his brothers was phenomenal. They were so tight and so close. They did everything together. So that's kind of what drew me to Omega Psi Phi, because of the bond that I saw my dad with his brothers. These are his blood brothers, and they were just so tight. And how they did everything together, they traveled together, they went on vacations together with their families. So, and they all were terrified of my grandmother. So it was good to see that, that bond that they had. So with me coming from, I had a model, but I also had a phenomenal mother. my mom was extremely powerful. I learned perseverance from my mother, and I actually learned leadership from my mother. My mother was the head of the Eastern Stars in New York State. So I watched my mom, go through the ranks, and I watched her be. And I'm told by a lot of people who knew my mom that I act a lot like her. Pofo and the brothers always say, Biggs never asks anybody to do it; he usually tells them. So, and I got that from my mother. I never asked. I'm like, okay, I need you to do this. That's not even an ask. It's like you can do this. So, I learned from her early in age the leadership that she had with all the Eastern Stars, and the men were terrified of her too. They were terrified of my mom. So, I watched how she balanced and how she was able to lead that. And my mom was also a corporate executive, so she was in corporate America. So I watched her do all those things, and her, I thought which was her play was the Eastern Stars. It was actually more work for her because it was more like she had to lead this division of women, then she had to go to work and lead a division of people. Mm-hmm. So I watched her balance, and my mom did it with a heavy hand. So it was good to have her as a role model in leadership. Again, she taught me how to lead at an early age. She told me to be unapologetic, to be honest with you. And I always tell my brothers all the time, in Omega Psi-Phi, we have to be unapologetically us.
Absolutely.
We have to be unapologetically us. We are who we are. And the minute we try to be something, but I learned a long time ago, I stopped being the man that I'm not going to be a long time ago.
Yeah.
I can't be him. I have to be who I am. I can't be like you or this one or this. I have to be me. And my hope for the second district is that the man who comes behind me is better than me. Yeah, and that's the only way that we were able to have progress in the second district or the fraternity. The man that comes behind me has to be better than me. I tell the council all the time, I'm Jim Brown. If I can't run around you, under you, I'm going to go through you. So the next man up has to be, Walter Payton or Gail Sayers or something like that. Come behind me. But there's only one Jim Brown, baby.
Right. And we need to celebrate that. I'm pass the ball to Jeff. And we should celebrate that. I was reading this book, I think it was Maxwell, and one of my leadership books I was reading, that once you're out of leadership, the greatness about leadership is to help the next person. Mm-hmm. To do exactly what you said. Mm-hmm. Lift that person up, encourage them, celebrate them, to push the entire organization forward. Mm-hmm. And we really got to take a greater interest in making sure that person is successful. I commend you for that.
Yeah, but years ago when I was bosses of Epsilon chapter, and for years they said the Epsilon chapter couldn't get this because we were a small chapter. Mm-hmm. So I worked hard. I forget one year, the district was in Pittsburgh, and I put together our chapter of the year book. And I watched Gamma Pi and LGG treat the awards that night like they were frisbees, back and forth to one another, frisbees. And I said, you know what, man, I'm going to get to this time. I'm going to get it. And then next year in Atlantic City, we got it. But the uproar was, they said, okay, the Men of Epsilon chapter came to the podium, and it was just 7 of us. Mm-hmm. So the question became, how did 7 dudes beat 200 and 300 guys?
Perseverance.
Yeah, but that's also been made into the small chapter and large chapter. And they couldn't have them more 7-minute chapters beating both of them jokers. We beat them both. We beat them all. But I set the blueprint for Charles Coleman to come behind me, and he was able to take it from us being the district chapter of the year to be the international chapter of the year. So, but he did it by doing all the programs that I put in place. Just put the program in place and just go on from there. And that's what we hope to do in the second district. The blueprint with the Fatherhood Initiative and things that we're doing right now, the foundation has been set.
Yes.
The next man has to come on board and push it further.
Absolutely. And that's the intent. That's our goal. And as Don would always say, we're intentional.
Absolutely.
We will succeed with intention. Mm-hmm. So as we move forward within the second district, I guess some reminders that we have to get out there is for all the Mega Men, throughout the second district, all the Mega Men, period, we have to be involved with political action. We have to really push voter registration.
Yes.
And really really urge the community to get out and vote. That's what's going to make a difference. We've worked for, Don and I worked for the past 3-4 years within the state of Maryland on fathers' rights, helping fathers to be fathers and help them get a fair shake and reconnect those fathers with their children.
Co-parenting, yes.
Yes, it's our passion. It's not just our mission. It's our passion to make that happen. And I just wanted to throw out one other, and you're going to hear from this again. In April, Nero Chapter is sponsoring a symposium called Protect Our Daughters. It's Protect Our Daughters Conference. It's going to be April 18th at the Southgate Elementary School in Glenbury. But we're going to bring you more on that. Pretty soon the flyer should be up on the chapter's website. You will have to RSVP. There's no cost for this, but as part of the fatherhood is protecting our daughters. It's major, and getting the fathers involved. So it's going to be interesting and exciting times this year, along with I guess you would speak on the Game Changer.
The Game Changer Conference, March the 21st. Everybody say Game Changer. We impact 500 boys. This is year number 9. Unbelievable. Year number 9. The location, the 5 W's, is the Game Changer Conference for the young males, boys of color. Bring your sons, bring your nephews, bring your church members, your football and basketball teams. Wear the University at Shady Grove in Montgomery County and Rockville. The date is March the 21st from 7:30 to 3 p.m. It's exciting times, Brother DR. We are reaching out to get more Omega Men. It's a one-day mentoring conference. In essence, we teach them life skills, how to tie a tie, bow tie, 30-second interview, the proper handshake, looking in the eye, none of this dab. We teach them how to treat the ladies like ladies. We got the fire and rescue team there with that beautiful, sophisticated fire truck to provide instructions. And so the first hour is built to be a game-changing hour. We have life skills the first hour. Somewhere about 8:30, we'll do the welcome with our co-sponsors in the first new year. Also, we got the Winter Council February the 1st in Delaware, William Penn High School, starting at 8 a.m. Again, we mentioned the mentoring program with each arms, and the Game Changer Conference on March the 21st. On April the 25th, 28th, 72nd Annual 2nd District Conference. It will be in Pittsburgh. We got a Youth Leadership Conference planned on that Saturday, and we're just so excited that you're able to join us. Any final thoughts, Jeff?
No, just brothers, just don't be afraid to get out there. And please, the chapters that are doing mentoring in any form or fashion, please contact us and let us know. So we need to track this data and give you the support that you need. There's some exciting news coming down from National concerning mentoring, and so we need that data.
Brother DR, you have the final remarks. Again, thank you so much for rearranging your schedule to be here in the studio. Yay!
You guys, just two things for the mentees. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of failure. You know that Michael Jordan said it best. You know he has failed and failed and failed, but that's why he succeeded. So you can't give up. Just you make a wrong turn or a pitfall. Never give up. Never give up. And you guys know my favorite quote from Trace Smith: "Your presence doesn't have an impact, then your absence won't make a difference."
Say that again.
Your presence doesn't have an impact, then your absence won't make a difference. So for the impact that you brothers are having right now, thank you. Phenomenal work. Phenomenal work, my brothers. Phenomenal work.
See you on Q's on the Move next Tuesday. We out. King said, tomorrow is now today. I'm excited because Omega leadership is stepping up to mentor our boys and the next generation of young people.
If I may,
Sure.
do two things just on your program with the daughters. That's so important because there's one thing I've learned in being an Omega man. Not as long as you guys. I've only been here 30 years. You guys got like 60 or 70 years on me. But I learned that even though we know one of the greatest joys is to bring our son into Omega, will be, our dads were Omegas, our daughters make us weak. Our daughters make us weak. We do anything for our daughters.
Absolutely.
And every Omega man that I know, and I do mean every Omega man that I know, is a mama's boy. Every last one of us. So that protection that we need for our women and that protection we need for our daughters is so paramount in what we need to do as a strong Omega man. So that's something that I would like to get the district push behind this. And we do have things like the dad-daughter dances and stuff like that. And we just be that force for our daughters. Because our daughters, will choose the men.
They
and
need
emulate
us.
their fathers
Yes.
sometimes.
Absolutely.
And we need to make sure they're trying to make the best choice for that. And to your point, brother, about with the youth, in Epsilon this past October, we had our youth leadership conference, and it was phenomenal.
Yes, sir.
It was phenomenal. And what I really think the second district needs, and I'm going to work on that program right now with your help, we need to have an umbrella of all of our mentoring programs, all of our youth leadership together, one umbrella that we can incorporate, and to go out and get the funding to do various programs throughout the second district. What we call it, it could just be one thing. It could be second district youth leadership, but under it, it has different chapters who do the mentoring program, stuff like that. But that's something that we can, more importantly, tabulate the data. Because what we do is that with that, you're able to get the data on just what the programs are working at. And that data is allowed us to get funding. So I'm on that right
Wow,
now.
strategic thinking.
Yes,
You're
sir.
just making me feel like a proud papa. Hey, look, as we close, we got 2
Well,
minutes here.
Yeah, and,
Go ahead.
and speaking along those lines, on January 25th, there's going to be a Train the Trainer event,
there you go.
and that's going to be taking place. It's East Orange, New Jersey.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Matt Stevens,
Matt
shout
Stevens.
out.
Yes.
Matt's a good
Yes,
dude,
it's,
man.
It's
Matt
going to be at
does some good-
132 South Harrison Street in East Orange, New Jersey. And so, do we have a website?
We're encouraging our Omega brothers to take time out, take a full time out, meet us in East Orange. Matt Stevens got a phenomenal program. Trainer. I feel like back in the military. That's how we get it done, so that we can go out and be a greater impact in our communities.
So we will have all of that information on the second